Hey everybody, I'm Tyler. Good to see ya. It's been a hard 6 months, hasn't it? I had to quit wearing my good Crocs to the river. It's because I fell in, and I lost my best one. Floated right down the river. I never wear proper footwear to do anything. I used to load bowls in my Crocs. That was my favorite thing. Like, I gotta become... Cowboys would tell me, no, you can't wear it, like, you have to wear cowboy boots. But I didn't like doing that, because fat cowboys have bad knees. We have to wear New Balances and shit. That's just how stuff works. I'm from rural Iowa originally, but I live in Omaha now. I'm trying to get used to living in the city during a pandemic. And it's weird, it's hard for me, I'm not used to it. I chose Omaha though because Cavender's Western store is right next to Aldi's. Yeah, it was a poor choice. It was great at the time because I can go over to Aldi's when I'm saving all that money on 39-cent shank ham. I got enough to pounce on over to Cavender's and afford one of those shirts with enough pearl snaps to cover my whole belly. Not like that Tractor Supply shit. They cut off right here. This big. They literally stop right there. I'm not used to dating in the city. That's a big thing. I just don't know how to do it. The girls are different. Like I'm used to a girl that uses a Slim Jim wrapper as a bookmark. I mean, that's my style. That's what I like. I'm into girls that have an ear for when a bag of microwave popcorn is done. That's what I like. My mom told me she wants me to find a nice gal in Omaha. And I told her, but first I'm trying to find a nice old man that knows that stretch of the Missouri River. Because fishing's tough. I want a nice old man. I'm not ready for a nice young girl yet. I've been going, one thing I've been doing is, I've been bored, so I've been going to cigar bars. And I was smoking cigars, and I don't fit in with rich guys or fancy guys. And I heard these two guys, they're like, they were talking about how they can never get married because women just want them for their assets and their money. And I was like, yeah, I hear you, rich fellas. Like, I've spent the past 15 years metal detecting rural Iowa playgrounds with my grandpa. And I got a whole Folgers coffee can full of trust issues. Treasures and trust issues. I totally get it. I'm not used to the bars in the city. I'm not used to the bars in the city because, well, they're nice. I'm not used to nice bars. Like, I like a smelly small town bar. I like when you walk in and the waitress will bare hand you a pickled egg. And that's what I like. Or when the bartender's pouring the shots of rum chata for my group, and she pours mine just a little too full, and then she sips the top off of it, and then says, sorry, sweetie, and pushes it back to me. God, I love that shit. That's my favorite. I had a booker that didn't know me. I had somebody that didn't know me, and they wanted to send me to a small town to do a little bar show. He asked me, he said, hey man, how comfortable are you with trashy bars? Are you comfortable in trashy bars? And I said, comfortable? I like to stand next to the popcorn machine and cheer when people don't use the scoop. I'm real comfortable in trashy bars. I am. This isn't the first job I've ever had where I have to use a microphone. I used to be a rodeo clown. Yeah, that's true. My dad just retired after 32 years of teaching in the same small town. Iowa high school. And we're proud of him for that. And I retired after being a rodeo clown. And I'm like, that's not cool. I don't know where I was going with that. That was a botched joke. Those happen. But I had to try to. The first thing I did as a rodeo clown, or right before I quit, I had to go to a school and I had to give a presentation for these kids for rodeo week and to promote the rodeo in town. So the teacher brought me up, and I didn't know how to start, so I just started with my rodeo clown name. And I just said, "Hey kids, I'm Tiny Tyler Walsh." That's my clown name. And this kid jumped up in the back, he said, "But you're fat." And I was like, "Shut up, man, I'm about to juggle." He didn't think that was cool. Anything like that. Here's the thing, here's a proclamation I'm making. I'm a decent juggler. I'm a pretty good juggler. I got props and everything. I'm a pretty good juggler. Here's the thing you learn, you find out when you become a pretty good juggler, the first thing. Nobody gives a shit. At all. They don't like it. It's not cool. But like I was getting to, injuries happen in rodeo. That's a big thing. And my niece was home over the holidays, and she was telling me that she was telling rodeo clown stories about me at school. And I was ready to hear which one. And she told all the kids at school that her uncle got gored by a bull's horn up his hiney. And he had to get flown to the hospital. That's absolutely true, Sioux Falls. Big bull stuck his big horn up my big ass. But it's a gross story. You guys don't want to hear it. You're eating and drinking. It's gross. Trust me. And she said hiney. That's the only cute part of the story. But I will tell you this, Sioux Falls. It's not going to snow tonight because my bus car's not tingling. So we're going to have a good night. No worries. I'm a big dude, and I'm a bigger guy, and I work in agriculture, so I have to do little guy things. I don't get an option. And I was cleaning cobwebs off a green spout at my day job, and my boss was supporting the ladder for me. I was on a 25-foot extension ladder at the very top of it. And just halfway through him holding the ladder, he decided to start reading the warning label on the side. And he just looked up at me and he said, "Hey man, how close to 300 pounds are you?" And I just looked down at him and I smiled and I said, "Well, if 300 pounds was the border of Nebraska, I live about 11.3 miles into South Dakota." I'm big. I'm a big guy. Here's the thing about being a big guy. People tell you all the time. And so it's, "Hey, big guy." If they don't know your name, it's big guy, things like that. Old guys love to tell me how big I am. That's a thing. Old guys love husky boys. I don't know what's up with it. I was shopping at the mall in Omaha, and I was new to Omaha, and I didn't talk to people yet. I wasn't friendly. And I was just standing in the middle of the mall, and I hear this old man's voice behind me, quite a ways back. And this is all I hear, right in the middle of the mall. "Big son of a bitch!" And I just froze. I stared straight ahead. I didn't say anything. I didn't know what to do. And I can hear this voice getting closer. And I can hear him yelling this still. And the next thing you know, I can hear him directly behind me. And then this happens. I felt both of his hands slide up onto my side while I'm looking forward. And then one more time, I got a real slow, methodical Big son of a bitch. And I turn around, and I'm in the arms of a 75-year-old man. And we just talked for like 20 minutes. Did you see, it's not weird. I'm from Mapleton, Iowa. I was a 6'3", 300-pound 16-year-old. It was just normal for all the weird old guys getting coffee at Casey's in the morning to feel you up and tell you how excited they were for football season that fall. What I'm saying is I've been groped by a lot of old men. That's what I'm getting at. I wasn't always a cowboy. I'm not a cowboy. I grew up in town. I was fake. Like, well, all my dad was a teacher. We grew up in town. All my buddies, my hero buddies, they were driving their dad's tractors, and we got an electric scooter that my dad wanted, a pool fundraiser. Like, that's what we had. We were town kids. We weren't cool. But here's the thing. Now I've worked with animals my whole life and stuff like that. And the one thing I never got to do at school is I never got to participate in Tractor Day. Do you guys know what Tractor Day is? It's when all the kids at school get to drive their tractors on one day of the year, and the newspaper comes out, and they take all the pictures, and it's a great time, and I never had a fucking tractor. I wanted to be a country kid, but I wasn't. And then, the other day, I was at Casey's, and I went in, and I got my chew, and then the lady just looked at me and she said, "Woof, you smell like cow shit." And I just turned, I was like, "And can you believe I didn't even get to do Tractor Day?" She had no clue what I was talking about. I just walked out. I didn't start rodeo till I was like 20. I didn't go to my first rodeo, and like I said, I was a town kid. I didn't know anything. And cowboys have the best sayings. You guys been around? Some of you are cowboys in here. They got the goof. I love old man sayings. Like, and I work in the city now, so I just love old man sayings, cowboy sayings. Nobody at work knows what I mean when I say I have to go talk to a man about a horse. They don't know I have to poop. I get thrown out. And cowboys, they got lots of great sayings. So here's what happens. I go to my first rodeo, and I find this guy. He's going to take me. He's going to show me the cowboy life. And we go into this deal, and we're in the dance, and he's got his big cowboy hat on, and I got a brand new cowboy hat on. I look like a real douche. And I have my brand new hat on, and we're all dressed up, and this is what happens. First thing that happens, a pretty girl dances by us, and she just steals the cowboy hat off my buddy's head. I was like, huh? That's got to be against cowboy code. Baxter Black wouldn't approve of that. And nobody gets it. She snagged the hat off his head, and she laughed and smiled and let him out on the dance floor. And she giggled, and then she went and she put his hat on her head. And it was huge. It just bobbled everywhere. And this is what happened. He didn't skip a beat. He just stepped back and he looked at her and he said, "Try the hat, try the cowboy." And I was like, whoa. I thought she'd hate it, but she loved it. They danced all night and did a bunch of cool stuff they told me about when we went to Casey's for chew in the morning. I was like, that's awesome. Cowboy life for me. So it was my turn. It was my turn at the dance. I was going to use this line. Pretty girl dances by me, and she steals the cowboy hat off my head, and she leads me out on the dance floor and laughs and giggles and goes to put it on her head. And it slid down just perfectly. And I was like, holy shit. You have a huge head, too. I had to special order that thing from the Western Edge. Oh, shit. I moved to Chicago recently, and I moved right back from Chicago recently. For all of the reasons you've heard up here the past however many minutes. I moved back. Here's the thing. I didn't know what to do in Chicago. I was out of place. I was totally out of place. I've always worked with livestock, things like that. Didn't know what to do for work. So I got a job at Panera Breads. Yeah, because that made a lot of sense. I never worked in the food service industry. My first day on the job, my boss comes by and he introduced himself and he just said, "Hey man, what'd you do at your last job?" And I just turned casually and I said, "Well, for the past year I've been based with a donkey basketball fundraising company out of central Wisconsin." And he looked at me and he said, "What?" And I went on to explain this. I told him that I worked for a company where I traveled the country for a year with a trailer load of donkeys, going town to town, school to school. Schools would hire my company. I would take those donkeys to their school, and they would recruit teachers and students to try to ride the donkeys in the school gym and play basketball at the same time. And we sold tickets to the delight of rural audiences everywhere. And he just looked at me and he left the room. That was it. And he came back 10 minutes later and he said, "Hey man, you remember when I asked you about what you did at your last job?" I said, "Yeah." And he said, "I only asked you that so I could know where I could put you in the restaurant. And I have no fucking clue." I understood that. I got that. In that same week, this is totally a confession of sorts. I got caught with a dip of chew in my mouth at Panera Breads. They don't like that in food service at all. They're not a big fan of husky Midwest boys tossing salads with a chaw of Copenhagen. Yeah, they don't like it. And he stops me. He stops me. He says, "Is that a dip of chewing tobacco in your mouth?" And I said, "Yes." I'm so sorry. I don't know. He said, "What are you thinking? Why would you think that's okay?" He said, "Would you want somebody making your food with a dip in?" I was like, "I just got back from family Christmas in Iowa." Like, we all had a dip in. And then he gives me this stern talking to, and then he comes around and he gets real low to me, and I'll never forget what he said. He got real low and he said, "Would you have done that at your last job?" And that's when I said calmly, "I worked for Dairyland Donkey Ball Company. I bumped dips of chew off of high school principals. Because those are the type of people that let you bring donkeys into their school." All right, everybody. I've been Tyler Walsh. Thank you very much. Give it up for all the comedians you've seen tonight. They've been awesome. And give it up for your wonderful host, Lou.